Hey guys, it's Emmanuel here, the Enthusiastic Coder, and Happy New Year! I'm very excited for this year, and I hope that it'll be successful for you and for me. So basically, I was on YouTube, and I was watching some tier list making videos. You all know what that is, right? And I was like, why don't I make a tier list making video on the Arduino? You know, because it's quite fitting, it's the beginning of the year, and it'll be quite a good video to do. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. Very excited. The funny thing is, there are some things on this list that I'm actually not, I don't own, but I have used most of them, and I do know about most of them except for one, but you'll see in the video, and I will tell you. Okay, this is so exciting. Got my glasses on because I'm using my computer. And here's the tier list. First of all, before we start, a huge thank you to Daniel Red Saber. I've seen a lot of his videos on YouTube. This is the same guy, I think it is, because that's his profile picture. But I've seen a lot of his videos and on how to make a lightsaber, and they're really cool. I think you should check out his channel. I will link it in the description below. But he kindly made this amazing tier list that I'm going to be using today. So thank you again, Daniel. So the first one, okay, we all know how a tier list works. S is the best one and F is the worst one. This is my blind, my blind assessment of this. So the first one's a multimeter. I do have a video on this actually a couple of years ago where I was reviewing a multimeter. Basically, it allows you to do things like checking the voltage in a circuit, checking the current in a circuit, or checking continuity and so many other things. So it is very, very useful, especially when you're testing if something works or how much resistance you must use in a circuit. So it is essential. So I want to put it in S tier, but I'm the kind of person to mark things really, really high. So I'll put it in an A tier. I'll say a really silly answer to be like, you could just calculate it yourself. But it is something that everyone needs. You know what, let me bump it in the S tier. If this whole video ends with everything being S tier, then I don't know. You can watch another one of my videos. Yeah. Okay, next one is YouTube. Very self-explanatory. You definitely know what YouTube is because you're watching this YouTube video right now. It has been so helpful. It allows you to find tutorials on whatever, whether it's Python, C++. In this case, it's the Arduino. It helps the Arduino so much, or it helps you learn things. I actually have a whole series on how to use the Arduino, and that has helped some people. I watch a lot of YouTube tutorials, so this thing is go-to. Okay, I will put this in an, oh no, wait, I'll put it on an A tier. You know what? I'll say why. Okay, so it is going to the A tier. Oh, whoopsies. Okay, it's going to A tier, not F tier. And the reason why is because some information might be a little bit misleading or might not be thorough enough. Someone might give you a code and they won't put like a link to where the code is, or they won't fully document everything in it. So it's quite good, but at the same time you just gotta make sure that you have like good resources when you're looking on the internet, and that's the same for anything. So the next one is Helping Hands. And basically Helping Hands allows you to, when you're soldering, it just makes things easier. So I actually do have my own personal Helping Hands. Yeah, so mine's not like the one in the image right here, but it's the exact same press. It's the exact same thing basically. So personally, I don't really think they help too much. Maybe it's just the model that I have, because I feel like this one's a little bit better. I'm not too sure. But yeah, so they're alright if you're a beginner, but the thing is, at the same time, you could still be a beginner like me at soldering, and it might not really help. So the thing that I think is quite useful is using something called soldering flux, which makes the soldering easier because it might stick to the pads easier and a lot more seamless. You get what I mean? So I will put it on the B tier just because it is quite helpful, but it actually takes a little bit of preference, because some people like it, some people don't like it like me, you know. Okay, so next up is the soldering iron. Okay, now the thing is, I really do not like using soldering irons because, I don't know, they're scary. They're like really hot, and they have to be hot because they're soldering lead and soldering wires together, so that's the reason. This image shows more than just a soldering iron. It shows like a little bit of a sponge, and I think it shows, I don't know, I can't really see anything. It shows some like soldering tips also, because sometimes you might need to solder on a larger surface area. But basically, the premise of a soldering iron, especially for the Arduino, is to just solder things together. So this is like taking the perspective that you have a finished product, or you're trying to solder like pins to a module or something. So it is essential for stuff like that. If you want to do something that is a finished product, maybe you won't need it because you need a prototype first. But if you ever want to solder a module, or you want to have a finished, like, ready to sell product using the Arduino, you have to have a soldering iron. So it has to be an S tier. It's extremely useful. There are different variants, but this is the good old soldering iron. Next on the list is Arduino IDE. So a lot of people might think, like, what do you mean? This is an instant S tier. Like, how can you have an Arduino and you don't have software that will be, you know, you don't have a place to code it? Because, like, obviously you have to code an Arduino IDE. But the truth is, it's literally just an IDE, an integrated development environment, meaning that you can use a whole lot of other programming IDEs or environments like VS Code. I think it's VS Studio, not VS Code. But yeah, so Arduino IDE isn't the only environment that you can write Arduino code. And actually, there's been debates online about it not actually being the best IDE because it might be too counterintuitive, it might not have a lot of features. For me, I'm pretty indifferent about it. The only thing I dislike is the updates. It's like the updates break some aspects of the environment. But to me, it's alright. I will put it in a B tier because it is from Arduino and it does look quite pretty. And I know that's not really a good answer for a product why it's not bad. So next up are wire strippers. So basically, as the name suggests, it strips wires. So you might have this long piece and you want to kind of cut some off to solder, and you don't want to try use scissors or whatever because that's quite difficult. So I don't own a wire stripper, and I've actually never used a wire stripper before. I've seen a lot of videos where people use it and it's like night and day compared to trying to use tweezers. So this is very amazing, it's life-changing. The thing is, first of all, yeah, not everyone has it. Like, I remember we were doing some school projects and we didn't have that, and we used tweezers. And like, once you get the hang of using tweezers for it, I think it's tweezers or wire cutters or whatever, I'll get the right name. But yeah, once you get the hang of it, it's actually not too difficult. So I will put this on a B tier because it is helpful, but it's not like it's a necessity. So it just depends on preference, kind of like the helping hands. Next one is good old software Blender. So first of all, when I looked at this tier list, I was like, why in the world is Blender in like an Arduino tier list? Or like, I guess you could say for anything that's related to robotics and stuff. So I'm actually still quite confused. I've never used Blender in like an Arduino scenario. I think some people might be using it for 3D modeling cases, for example. Like, I don't think there's any code in Arduino, in Blender. So that was quite confusing. For 3D software, I think, because like it is very good for animation and modeling and stuff. So it is quite good at that aspect. So I will put a B tier, okay, because I don't see how it really helps the Arduino. Next up on the list is Google. I genuinely think Google is better than YouTube in some areas, because instead of just watching through a video and skipping to the end to see the final code and then copy and paste that, you now have access to a search engine in which you can just go down, scroll down all the way to the end of the website and copy and paste from there. But I'm joking, of course, don't do stuff like that. I mean, you could, it's not really wrong, but Google is really helpful. It gives you tutorials just like YouTube, but in some cases they could be more in depth. It gives you examples, there's forums and stuff, because it's basically a gateway for all these different sites like YouTube, places like Discord. So it is very, very helpful. I don't see anywhere else that people would be getting information, so I will put it on A tier, like in front of YouTube, but I mean they're both around the A tier area. Yeah, it is quite useful. The same problem with YouTube in the sense that some stuff might be misleading. That is something to watch out for, but it is extremely, extremely helpful. Okay, so I will admit, I've never ever seen this website before. It's called Wakwi. Okay, I did do some background research before this video. So basically, if any of you guys know what fritzing is, it's basically just fritzing. I did look a little bit on the website, so and it does seem really cool. If you like the video, wow, this is amazing, because fritzing costs money, right? I think it's called fritzing. It costs money, and I thought this didn't cost money, but it kind of does. It's kind of like a freemium kind of product, where you have to pay if you want more features. But the thing is, it is a subscription service, so you know, compared to buying something once and a subscription service, obviously buying something once is a lot better. So this thing has a lot more resources, you could say, compared to fritzing. But at the end of the day, it is a subscription service to be able to get faster loading times. So I will put it in a C tier. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna get so many debates in the comments. Okay, now after this, you might think I have no clue about coding at all or making hardware or whatever, but I genuinely forgot the name of this. I think this is wire cutters, but obviously wire cutters allow you to cut wires. If you have the ones where it has a small hole at the bottom of the wire cutters, it can kind of let you cut the insulation off, but not the actual wire. So they're very, very useful. So I would put this in an A tier. No, actually S tier, because I mean in every toolbox people have one of these, you know? So you use it so often, whether you want to cut wires, strip wires, do whatever, they're very, very useful, especially when you want to put them in PCBs, you want to prototype stuff, you can use these for a lot of things. A computer or a laptop, need I say more? I really don't know how you could code the Arduino without using a laptop. I guess you could use switches and binary and stuff like that. Never done it before, never ever want to do it. It's very painstakingly painful. That's even an English sentence. It's easily going in the S tier, and I don't think anyone can argue against it. Oh, that's a 3D printer. I don't think anyone could argue against that. Okay, the 3D printer. I don't own a 3D printer, but I do know the effects of it. It is very, very useful. It allows you to print enclosures for the Arduino. It allows you to actually make, not just for the actual board, an enclosure for it, but any project. So it's very, very useful. I will say it's A tier, not S tier, because not everyone needs to have a 3D printer. You could just use wood with a CNC, or you could, I don't know, use metal. Oh yeah, a CNC also does steel. So some people could prefer a CNC machine. Last but certainly not least, we have Tinkercad. This is a very great software, I must admit, especially if you use it the educational account. Obviously you have to be in a school or institute. It does so much. It is basically Blender because it has some 3D software aspects. It's also Wakwi, sorry, I forgot the name of it, because it allows you to do simulations with Arduinos. It's so many things. It's really, really useful. I remember using this when I was 15 for robotics as a subject. It's just so versatile, fantastic for education. The learning curve is not steep at all. What more do I have to say about it? We're instantly putting it in A tier. And that's my entire tier list. I know it is very controversial, but I mean, at the end of the day, all the tools that are on this list are extremely useful for the Arduino and for anything related to robotics or hardware or software, whatever. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe if you want to, and remember, have a good day.